You guys ready to talk some common sense? Here goes. All right, guys, welcome. So we are going to talk some common sense in light of this newest Inflation Reduction Act. Why am I even doing this? Because I feel like there's a complete lack of people speaking common sense terms about the problems that we face as a nation and as individual citizens of this nation. So this is my attempt at injecting some common sense, or as people that live down here around me would call it, country boy logic into our reality, right? And how we look at things. So first of all, I want to start out with a little story, a lesson that I learned in business about inflation. Okay. As you guys know, we have a company called 3 of 7 Project. We have products, right? We have to make a living, so we have products. Most of our products are training products that customers can purchase. We had a product about a year ago that was equal in terms of value, training value, to everything else that we do, right? So we had this product, we put it out, and the only thing that was different is that with this specific product, it was unlimited in terms of access and availability to our customers, whereas the rest of the training products that we offer are very limited. Now, we learned a hard lesson with this new product that was unlimited in terms of access and availability. We learned that we could not sell that product for the same price as we sold our other products because we inflated the access and availability of that specific product. Therefore, we drove the value of that product down. Now, this is going to tie in to the next part of this conversation. That was a hard lesson to learn. We fixed it. We decreased the access and availability of the specific product. We made it finite, which drove the value up to where we wanted it to be and where it had to be for us to make it sustainable. So what is actually happening here in our country in terms of inflation? Well, again, this is common sense, all right? This is just Chad telling you what he sees happening. I want you guys to first think back to probably mid 2020. All right, mid 2020. I want you guys to think back to all of those checks that we all got in the mail. That free money. You guys remember that? Some of you have probably forgotten because we've tried to wipe our memory clean of those times and that year specifically. But we all got a bunch of free money in the mail. And it was really weird. It was concerning to me. I don't know about you guys, but it was very concerning to me. Now, at the same time that we were getting all this free money, companies that produce necessary products, all right, they were being hindered from their ability to produce the necessary products that they produced, right? They were being hindered through mandates and increased regulation. And so the products that we need, the necessary products that we need and want as consumers, the availability of the product was decreasing while we were receiving free money. So the availability of the money or currency that we would use to buy those products was increasing all at the same time. Now that's a double whammy. Are you guys following me here? Are you guys following me? The availability of our currency was increasing while the availability of the products that we need were decreasing because of government mandates and restrictions. Okay, so what we see happening right now is an inevitable repercussion of that specific time and place. Absolutely inevitable. How do we respond to that? What can we do to hedge ourselves against it? All right, there's basically three things that I have chosen to do in common sense terms. How do we hedge against this inflation that was created by, you guys know what? How do we hedge against it? First thing that you can do is you can take what currency you have currently, excess currency that's in excess of what you need to pay your everyday bills. You can take that currency and you can use it to invest in training, all right? And by training, I mean learning skills that you can then possess for the rest of your life that make you valuable to your community, to your family, that make you valuable in general, right? What would those skills be? Well, there are many, many of them. Think about building things, growing things, protecting things, right? If you possess those skills, they make you valuable to the people around you. And the other thing about skills, you possess them from now on. Once you learn them, they can never be taken from you. They're finite. All right, what else can we do to hedge against this stuff, this inflation? We can use that excess currency that we have to purchase products that are becoming more and more scarce. All right, in common sense terms, what products do I purchase that are becoming more and more scarce? Ammunition. You guys want to talk about precious metals? Brass and lead are the most precious metals on earth, in my opinion. And when you combine them with some gunpowder and a primer, it becomes a very useful resource, at least for men like me. And it's becoming more and more scarce. So purchase those products that are becoming hard to find. All right, what's the third thing that we can do? We can purchase resources that are finite. What is a finite resource? Land, right? That's one thing. Purchase resources that they cannot make more of. That's a good way to trade this fickle currency right now before it's too late for something that will always have true value. So let's talk common sense of what government could do to help fix this problem. It goes back to the beginning of our conversation. Now, we're talking specifically in terms of this, this conversation was prompted by this Inflation Reduction Act, which does absolutely nothing to curb inflation. What could government actually do? Let's go back to the beginning of our conversation when we talked about what happened in 2020. Well, I think one of the only things that they could do is they could reduce regulations on companies that produce necessary products, which would enable those companies to increase the production of the products that we need to live life, to build, to survive, right? That'd be farmers, builders, lumber, all those things, right? Reduce regulation so that they can increase production of those products that we need. All right? Now, as those companies were freed up to increase their production, what do you think would happen? It would drive down the cost. As the availability of those products went up, the cost of those products would immediately decrease. Well, immediately, it would take a little time. All right, now we all know that's not going to happen, because for the government to decrease their regulation on companies that produce those necessary products would mean they would have to give up a measure of their power and control over those companies. So we know that's not going to happen. What's the other thing that government could do? They could make our currency a finite resource. In other words, stop printing it. What is out there in circulation is it. Stop printing it, right? Both those things would work pretty well, but we know it's not going to happen. So ultimately, when we look at this conversation about inflation and the Inflation Reduction Act that has nothing to do with curbing inflation, I should have just named this video something completely random, that it has nothing actually to do with what we talked about in common sense terms. Apparently that's the new thing. But what's the solution, since we're not going to stop printing money and we're not going to relinquish, government's not going to relinquish power over companies that produce necessary products? Well, the only solution is for you to make the right decisions and take responsibility with your own resources, what you currently have, right? What did we talk about those three things were? We talked about using the currency that we have in excess to learn skills, get training, purchase skills that make us valuable. We talked about purchasing items that are becoming scarce, hard to get, like ammunition. And we talked about purchasing resources that are finite, like land. All three of those things are great solutions that you're going to have to take charge of and act upon, and stop relying on government to fix the problems that you're facing right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this segment of Common Sense with me, Chad. The Lord has endowed me with time to think and a common sense perspective on the earth. And of course, this conversation could have been 4 hours long, but we're going to stick to common sense in these segments. Love you guys. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, share it with somebody that might need to hear it. Enough said.